Today on Monkey Life, a woolly bundle for Pacaja, but is it a son or daughter?
The baby's really active and wriggling. We've managed to have a look and we're pretty confident it's a little baby boy.
The slow lorists demonstrate just how they got their name when the team try to weigh them.
Yes, finally got him on the scales, just had to kind of lure him over a little bit.
And while there's good news for one woolly group, there's heartbreak for another. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
That's one been grabbed.
The park provides a home for more than 250 monkeys and apes from 20 different species. For the last few weeks, staff have been anxiously monitoring not one, but two of the park's female woolly monkeys. Paquita and Pacaja are both pregnant. And as is common with woolly monkeys, their due dates are mostly guesswork. Earlier this week, when staff arrived to check on them, the wait was over for one of the expectant mums. Pacaja had given birth.
We're all really excited that we've got a new baby woolly monkey arrival. Each one here is really valuable to us, so it's a super exciting time for us. We have actually managed to sex this little baby already. We've managed to have a look and we're pretty confident it's a little baby boy.
This is Pacaja's second baby. Almost 2 years ago, she gave birth to daughter Oriana. As a first-time mum, it was all a bit new to her. But second time round, she seems to be pretty relaxed about motherhood.
Pacaja is kind of acting as business as usual, to be honest. She really enjoys her time outside in the enclosure, so it's not unusual for her to go out and enjoy morning sunshine and things like that. She's still finding the whole process quite tiring, so she's having a lot more naps throughout the day as well.
These first few days are crucial. Both mum and offspring are being closely monitored by the team, who are happy all the signs seem positive. It's important the new arrival is suckling well and has a good grip on mum's fur, particularly as Pacaja is still so active. This tightly curled tail is another good sign. The newborn youngster might be clinging onto mum, but his dad is another matter. No one's quite sure which alpha male is the father. Paolo is the dominant male and leader of the group, but the baby's birth date suggests Chippy is the dad. He was the previous dominant male, who then moved to take over another group that had recently lost its leader, Oscar. But whoever is the daddy, it seems this group are one big happy family. Sister Oriana has already shown some interest in the new arrival, but is still more taken up by playing with Yurima's son, Carlos, which gives Pacaja some space to look after her newborn. And leader Paolo seems to be taking this big change in his stride.
Paolo's been really, really good. He has certainly noticed that there's a new arrival there and has gone over and kind of sat near Pacaja and been very gentle and quiet around her. Seems to respect her. But to be honest, generally speaking, it's just business as usual for him, and he gets on and does his stuff and just leaves Pacaja be to get on with the baby.
With both wild and captive woolly numbers in serious decline, it's more important than ever that everything possible is done to protect this vulnerable species. Over at Tuan's orangutan enclosure, female Lucky is about to meet Arme for the very first time since switching groups. She's already met Tuan, the big male, and another female in the group, Roro. They had all lived together before, so it was no surprise that things went well. But meeting Ame will be a whole new ballgame. She's a very strong character and used to being top female in the group. They're kept apart in separate bedrooms, while Jeremy does his best to keep Tuan occupied so he doesn't get too involved.
Come here, lovely girl. Your hand is so dry.
Jarno gives Ame a bit of extra TLC before the new girl joins her.
Give me your foot. I think after this you're gonna look beautiful.
Manicure finished, it's time for Ame to meet Lucky. Ame rushes straight in, but Lucky doesn't exactly greet her with open arms. Ame makes territorial calls to intimidate, but Lucky doesn't seem too concerned and stands her ground, even risking a quick hair pull.
Let them out.
Jeremy decides the best option is for the pair to have access to the outside, where there's more space to maneuver if one of them wants to get out of the way.
Finger, lovey.
And it's not just Lucky and Ame going out. They have an audience as Tuan and Roro decide to join them. At first, the two ladies eye each other warily from a distance. With Tuan watching, eventually Ame comes across to the climbing frame, and Lucky moves down to greet her. It all seems amiable enough, but as Ame turns to head away, Lucky makes a grab for her. It's not overly aggressive, but she's definitely trying to assert her dominance over the other female. It's not what the team predicted.
Knowing Ame, she's a very independent, forceful, in a kind of passive-aggressive way, but she is a don't mess with her. You know, she can be very dominant, so I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, in a couple of months down the line, this is completely different.
For the next few days, staff will keep a close eye on the two girls. If tensions become too high, they might have to rethink the grouping. Life with the ladies is never straightforward. But with Tuan around to keep order, things might quickly settle down. Life at the park is always evolving, as Alison and her team constantly evaluate the comfort and welfare of the 250-plus primates in their care. It's a non-stop, 24/7, 365 days a year programme, assessing their diets and devising enrichment routines, looking after their health needs and managing their social structures. Any change can have a huge impact on the individuals and their group. One of the biggest recent decisions has been to put 3 adolescent male golden-cheeked gibbons together to form the park's first ever bachelor gibbon group. 6-year-old Zach and Mikado and 5-year-old Tio had outgrown their family groups, and this seemed a good option.
Obviously, when we put these 3 boys together, there was the potential for an absolute disaster. We had no idea how it was actually going to work. And everybody is coexisting. They're occupying the same space, they're eating together, they're sleeping together, things like that. It's actually really quite positive, and they're all doing incredibly well.
Initially, Tio struggled. In the weeks following the move, he found adjusting to life in an all-male group a bit tough, frequently hiding while watching the other boys playing. Fast forward, and a few weeks later, it's clear Tio has not only found his confidence, but has a new best friend.
What we've actually seen, though, is that Zach has been a wonderful protector, and he's really taken Tio under his wing. He's really looking out for him. He spends a lot of time with him. He's really encouraged Tio into having a wild time with him. It's really lovely to see that really kind and gentle nature in Zach.
Unlike Zach and Tio, who were raised by their parents, Mikado had a rocky start in life. He was born in a zoo in France, but sadly his mother died when he was just a few weeks old. The team at Monkey World have a lot of experience hand-rearing primates and stepped in to help. The fact that the park had rescued a number of golden-cheeked gibbons meant that there was a female called Alex who could take over his care.
He's a very different character from the other two, and that is largely down to his start in life. What happens in the future, who knows? Mikado should grow up to be a big, sensible, strong boy.
For now, the three boys have settled well into their new life and seem content in their bachelor group. But the team know the best way forward is one step at a time.
Obviously, we'd like them to work and like them to stay together forever. But I mean, this is a very unusual setup, having the three boys together. It may work in the long term, it may not. We just have to obviously keep things fluid. There's always different possibilities, and we're always keeping our options open.
A few weeks ago, the park took in some rather unique new residents, 5 slow loris, who had travelled all the way from Hong Kong. They'd been stolen from the wild by black market traders and were found and confiscated by the authorities before they could be sold on. For the last few years, the loris have been rehabilitated and looked after by a Hong Kong rescue centre. Their move to the UK is part of a collaboration between Monkey World and the Sheldon Wildlife Trust in Devon. Originally from Southeast Asia, loris are nocturnal primates. The park have created a whole new complex, complete with red lighting, to house them during their quarantine period, before they move to Devon.
It's a massive learning curve for all of us because there's still a lot of research that needs to be done on lorises. Me personally, I haven't seen the male and female courting behaviour before, so it's been really, really exciting. And just to see that, I've just read about it before, so it's nice to see all these vocalisations happening and just really important behaviours.
Since arriving, 4 of the 5 have been paired up. Tina and Marley are sharing one bedroom, and Axel and Nikki another. That just leaves lonesome male Bruce, but it's hoped he'll be matched up pretty soon. When the loris arrived, they were all healthy, although a little overweight. Getting their diet correct can be tricky. Weighing them will give a good general indication of how they're doing. Today, Hannah's going to try and weigh Axel and Nikki, but slow loris are so named for a reason. Getting them onto the scales is no easy feat.
Go on, you two. Just look. Scales, you like the scales?
Axel is first to slowly make his way towards the scales. Hannah has the offer of favourite insect treats to try and encourage him. But it's a painfully slow process. This could be a long afternoon, not helped by the fact that Nikki's quite content to sit back and watch her mate go first. Time for plan B. Hannah puts gum and banana on the edge of the scales, in the hope the loris will sit down to eat long enough for her to get a correct reading.
Kind of need to get a weight on you, buddy.
He's closer, but trying to entice Axel onto the actual scale with a live locust is still a struggle.
This way.
Unfortunately, it's the locust who shows the loris how it's done, tucking into the banana and gum while Axel heads in the opposite direction.
Come on, then. You have to go on it, though. Don't cheat.
After what seems like an eternity, Axel finally makes his way onto the scales.
Well done, buddy. That's what we want to see. Just get yourself on a bit more. Oh, yes. Boom. Yes, finally got him on the scales. Just had to kind of lure him over a little bit so he'd get his other hand onto it. And once he's done that, he now weighs 1.93 kilos. It's a little bit on the podgy side. I need to check his other weights. I think he may have put on a little bit, so we'll see what we can do in terms of maybe putting him on a diet.
As for Nikki, she's seen enough and is heading off to a dark corner for a bit of shut-eye. The team will have to save her way in for another day. It's been a few weeks since Capuchin Tao was examined by the vet to assess his mobility issues. He's always struggled due to skeletal deformities from his previous life as a pet. But recently, things have got worse. staff began to notice a dramatic change in how he manoeuvred around the enclosure, often limping and struggling to climb and jump. The results of the tests have left more questions than answers.
Tao's medical examination was a bit inconclusive, really, that there's a few things it could possibly be, but there was nothing really obvious with him. So since then, we've tried a sort of a variety of medications and supplements to try and find something that seems to work for him and just improve sort of his mobility a bit more and get him sort of moving a bit more comfortably than he has been.
As well as providing various pain relief, staff have modified Tao's enclosure, putting more ramps in areas he needs to access. Jumping is still really tricky for him, but the changes do seem to have helped.
He's definitely not as limping as much as he was. He still has bad days and good days, and particularly when it's cold and damp, we do notice he does do a lot more resting and he is a bit slower and stiffer. And nothing seems to stop him. He still goes about his business.
Tao is in a tough situation. As the dominant male, he has a significant job to do keeping the enclosure safe. And perhaps more importantly, there are 16 females to keep happy. He certainly has his hands full, and it can be exhausting, particularly when the more dominant girls like Babe and Debbie come into season. He's keen to follow them around the enclosure, and some, like Debbie, will insist on giving him the runaround. But the effort takes its toll on Tao, and he's often seen taking extended rests. At the moment, Tao seems happy enough with life as the dominant male, but at some point in the future, looking after his harem of ladies may become too much for him. For now, all the staff can do is keep an eye on him.
We're just monitoring Tao as we go on, sort of day by day, week by week, seeing how he responds to various treatments and things. We just want to make sure that he's comfortable, he's not suffering. He's doing very well at the moment, but we will obviously assess him as he goes.
Caring for the park's primates takes a lot of knowledge, hard work, and dedication. But it's rewarding work for the team. However, it can sometimes be upsetting too. Recently, woolly monkey Lucas underwent a thorough examination, including x-rays, after he appeared to lose the use of his right leg. But the vets couldn't find any obvious cause for the 2-year-old's health issues.
But it's puffy. It's puffy there, yeah. Let's see. What has he got?
Anxious about his welfare, the care team did their best to build up Lucas's strength.
Lucas! Here he is. Hi, buddy.
They closely monitored his general health,
Good boy.
diet and hydration, and for a while he seemed to rally. He was still struggling with his right leg, but his demeanour changed and he seemed a lot perkier.
Over the past couple of days, he really seems to have turned a corner and just seems in a lot better condition in himself, like his coat is looking less greasy and less spiky. He's certainly not himself by a long shot. He's not the lively youngster that we know, but he definitely seems to have turned a corner in a more positive way, which we're really pleased about.
But sadly, 2 days ago, the youngster suddenly took a turn for the worse. Almost overnight, his condition and mobility seriously deteriorated. Despite everyone's best efforts, it was time to make a really tough call regarding Lucas's future and quality of life. The team had to take the heartbreaking and incredibly hard decision to put the little woolly monkey to sleep.
We had no choice in the end but to call it. He was not doing well. Primate care staff went to every step they could take to help him progress and get better. But in the end, his condition just worsened, and it got so bad that really you just have to have a bit of strong courage in these things and call it a day. We had to help him and we had to put him to sleep.
It was later discovered young Lucas had an infected heart valve, which caused leakage around the valve and led to blood clots, cutting off the supply of blood to his leg. It was a huge loss to everyone at the park. The future for woolly monkeys is uncertain. In captivity, there are less than 40, and 18 of those are at Monkey World. In the wild, they're considered vulnerable for extinction, so every single woolly monkey counts.
The situation's dire. I don't know if woolly monkeys are going to survive the next 10 years in the world, or whether the handful of woolly monkeys that we have here at the park in 3 different groups are going to be the last ones on the planet that you can see outside of the wild. I'm not sure, but it's not looking great. We do our best. We continue to try and breed them. It's the only species that we're actually breeding here at the park for that very reason. One of those sad days. Right now, it's back to Chippy's group and making sure that everybody is fit and healthy in there, and making sure that Paquita's okay, because she's now lost her son. And tomorrow's another day, and we'll try and do our best.
Managing this precious species is a huge responsibility and an ongoing task for all concerned, and little Lucas's loss was a blow to the Monkey World team.